Front pages this morning. New Epstein victim. I was sent for sex with Andrew. That's on the front page of the Times. Daily Mail. Andrew in new Epstein legal threat. Adjoining with that, a picture of disgraced Lord Mandelson, who's quit Labour, obviously having been told to do so. Mandelson quits over his pal Epstein in the Sun, and a big spread in the Sun, which is extraordinary. Which has got that horrible picture of Prince Andrew, or as he was once known, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, on all fours, sort of leering and leaning over a young woman whose face you can't see, who appears to have blonde hair and appears to be lying flat on her back on the floor, trafficked for sex at Royal Lodge, is what that says. And then when you look at the pictures on the front pages of the papers, bring justice for Epstein victims, Andrew and Mandelson told. That's the newspaper. On the front of the Telegraph, Mandelson faces order for Epstein evidence. It really is all becoming incredibly sleazy, even more sleazy than it was a couple of weeks ago. Let's talk to Marilyn Hawes right now to find out what she makes of it all. Marilyn, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, how are you?
Very well indeed. Great to have you back. Thank you so much indeed. Peter Mandelson, Lord Mandelson, is leading our poll as the most sort of disgraced and sleazy person in Britain, even worse actually than Andrew. How is it possible for him to still be in the House of Lords? Says that, he doesn't remember getting a $75,000 payment from Jeffrey Epstein. He says he's going to have to investigate himself in order to work out what to do next.
Well, I mean, it's just absolutely outrageous, isn't it? The whole thing is, I mean, this is a bunch of grubby, narcissistic, wealthy, entitled, powerful men who think it's perfectly okay to violate women, girls, and there are also some boys as well. I think, without fear or favour, they should all be... Andrew, absolutely, he's a total slug. He should go back to Congress. Why should he be saved and rescued? I mean, Mandelson, I've never liked him. I've always thought he was a slippery, manipulative snake. He's very, very articulate and measured with the things he says, but underneath it, I've never liked him. But, what is also about this, terrible about this, is these girls... they're women now, but they were little girls at the time. They were young teenagers, and their names are in these documents that are coming out. Whilst the powerful men, a lot of their names have been redacted. I mean, Andrew, who would want to have him as a father? Do you know, I really feel sorry for her. But Beatrice and Eugenie, they're innocent. As for their mother, Sarah Ferguson, she's another parasite, isn't she? She should be going over to Congress. That, Andrew, what annoys me, it really annoys me, is that if you knew you had an associate and a friend who was a paedophile, what would you do? You wouldn't get on a plane to Central Park and have a little chat with him. You'd ghost him and say you would never reply to him again. He's up to his neck in it. And I just think this has to go the whole distance, quick and fast, over to Congress, because I also for the royal family, it's absolutely dreadful. And the victims, going about the survivors, not everyone survives. Then the trauma that some of these women have suffered because of the invasive thing that happened to them as youngsters is horrific. 80% of bad mental health is created by trauma in childhood. And these women, there may be women now, but at the time, they as I say, they were children. And Giselle, what's her name? What about her? What's her name? I can't remember her name. The woman, she may well have been groomed by Epstein. But what right-minded woman, once you realise what you're doing by facilitating these women for his sexual pleasure, what right-minded woman would continue with that? She's up to her neck in it as well. A whole grubby lot of them. I find it repellent. It's disgusting. It absolutely makes me vomit. And to see Mandelson in his underpants,
I know.
And Andrew crawling over that poor woman. Well, at least she was 26. There's a thing called consent. She didn't have to do it, did she? But, he is such an embarrassment. I don't think he should be protected at all. He should be pushed out onto Civvy Street like anybody else and have to manage for himself.
Yeah, because don't forget, Don't forget, Mandelson will have a pension that will have been provided by the House of Commons. He'll have a European pension from the EU, from when he was a commissioner there. He'll also have a House of Lords payment system that he can claim every time he goes in there. You know, God knows what else he gets from being an ambassador. He might get another pension from that. This is all public money, by the way, Marilyn, that he's getting. I know. And as for seeing him in his underpants on breakfast television, it's enough to put you off your sausages, isn't it?
Oh my God! I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I was like, oh, it's just absolutely repugnant. It really is. I mean, honestly, the whole thing is, but no one is really, and this is where I come in with my bit. It's the victims. It's how much have they survived? It's what's happening to them. It is so salacious, this, for sort of the public to sort of munch away on. And it is a disgusting, revolting story. But they won't be the only one. I mean, look what El Fayed from Harrods was up to. These powerful, entitled, wealthy men think they can get away with murder. It's abuse of power. And it happens across the world in all sorts of organisations. And it just needs to be exposed. People need to speak it out. And I just think it's outrageous. I mean, as you say, how can he stay in the House of Lords? How can Starmer, the biggest traitor ever, still keep his title?
I know, it's extraordinary, isn't it? And also, let's not forget, Starmer was not that many weeks ago offering his full confidence in Lord Peter Mandelson. He said he knew everything about what he'd been up to and that he was satisfied that there was no problem. So what does that tell you about his judgment, one, and also the vetting process for appointing these people to these very high-powered jobs? It turns out it goes all the way back to Robert Maxwell, the former owner of the Daily Mirror and ghastly individual who I happen to know in my previous life. I interviewed him once, a foul-mouthed, horrible, fat scumbag who ended up sort of dying in a very mysterious way, falling off his boat in the Mediterranean. Nobody shed any tears for that. But I also saw, they used to call him the bouncing check. They also, I saw yesterday, I don't know if you did, a couple of very disturbing video images on Twitter of Epstein chasing what looked like two very young girls around a table in his house.
Yes, you cannot tell me that Mandelson, Andrew didn't know that was going on. I mean, were they walking around with blindfolds on? It's utter nonsense. And I'd love to know the names of the pilot that used to fly people around. He kept a log, didn't he, of all the names? Those names need to be out there. Yeah. Every one of them, whoever they are, needs to be in Congress and answering to lawyers without fear or favour. It doesn't matter who they are, because otherwise this is going to drip on and on and on. And the only people that are getting traumatised from this are the young women who were little girls at the time. And no one's thinking about them. And it's just awful to have it dragged through again, the memory of what they went through and the denial and the creepy, revolting, having those men, hands all over you, disgust me. It absolutely disgusts me. I mean, look in the mirror, for goodness sake. There's not a decent bloke among them. They're all revolting. Yeah. And I quite like men.
Yeah, I know. Well, luckily, we're not all like that. It has to be said. But what about the royal family's involvement now in all of this? Because somebody was saying to me this morning, if, for example, and this second woman who's on the front pages this morning, decides to hire a lawyer and decides to come after Andrew, he doesn't have that much money now because he's already given most of it away to Virginia Giuffre, having borrowed it from Mummy, right? He won't be able to go to his brother, the king, and ask him for any. And even if he does, if King Charles was to give him money to pay off another woman, surely that could potentially bring the monarchy down.
Well, of course. I mean, I don't think there's I think the person that people most like is probably William and Kate. But I think if his father did that, I think William would have, I don't think there's any love lost between William and Andrew. I really don't. He is, and I think the royal family have got to actually kick his ass and make him, so he's got not a lot of money. Well, neither have I, neither have a lot of people. But you still have to find a way to pay your bills and pay any legal fees that you have. Why should he be protected in some place stuck up in Norfolk because of what he's done? And I say, what about Sarah Ferguson? Oh, I thought of Epstein as my brother. Really? Well, if that's what I'm glad I don't have one. I mean, she's as bad. She's a parasite. Yeah. She cannot have known what was going on. I don't believe any of them when they say they didn't know. It's absolutely bonkers. I mean, plenty of staff that knew, and they should be coming out and making statements as well. There has to be an end to this. And anybody and everybody, it doesn't matter if it's Clinton or whoever it is, they need to be at Congress, and let's lay this to bed and get on with it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sick. Honestly, it makes me feel sick.
I know.
Really does.
Well, what about Hillary Clinton? I mean, Bill and Hillary Clinton were asked to make a statement before Congress. They refused to do it. They've sent a written statement in. They refused to be questioned. They shouldn't be allowed to do that.
And of course not. Why would you do that? If you were innocent, if Andrew was innocent, if I was accused of things that I absolutely hadn't done, I'd be on the first plane to America and get me into court right now. I want to say I'm innocent. They're all hiding away. He paid off that woman. Well, there you go. Guilty as charged, aren't you? Mummy paid the bill. I mean, it's just outrageous. The whole thing, they're a bunch of slime balls. They really are. There's not anything you couldn't put, all right, so Mandelson's at the top of the hit list for being unpopular. You couldn't put a bit of tissue paper between them. They are all grubby little slugs, or big fat slugs, actually. They just disgust me. Absolutely. I'm cross. You might think I'm cross. I'm not cross. I am cross. I'm really cross because I'm sick of it. I mean, I do this all the time with ordinary kids, and every day, that are being abused and violated by some grubby man that they knew, and also women, because they do it as well. Don't forget, because Ghislaine Maxwell, I don't think she was innocent either.
Well, she's the only person who's done time apart from Epstein. You know, where's everybody else's punishment?
Exactly, all of them. But you see, if I was her, but she'd probably be topped, wouldn't she? I would blow the whistle and name them all. She must know them, but then she'd probably be topped off, wouldn't she? What sort of life is she having behind bars anyway? I mean, I just can't.
I know. It's absolutely shocking. It's absolutely shocking.
There's not one decent thing you can say about this case at all. But it has to be brought to an end, and I think the royal family they really need to rescue themselves here and say, right, look, this is enough. Off you go, Andrew. We never want to see you again. Out you go from your house that we're homing you up in. Tough. Kick him out. I mean, I know lots of people that have had to say goodbye to their children because they're just you just can't abide with them. And there's no moral compass here. I mean, Ghislaine Maxwell had no moral compass, I don't think. None of them have.
No. It's incredible, absolutely incredible. Listen, Marilyn, you're very popular as ever for being on and speaking your mind.
Don't forget, Mike, I'm also a presenter at Unprecedented TV. I don't do that.
Absolutely. No, listen, people should go watch you there as well. Unprecedented TV. Brilliant stuff. Marilyn, great to see you. Thank you so much for your passion and for your beliefs and for your incredible energy, to be honest, this time of the morning. I don't know how you do it. Great to see you. Marilyn Hawes there.
Thanks, Mike.
Sleaziest UK public figure in our poll this morning.